What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. So the teams have started being announced for week 3 of the July internationals. It's going to be a great weekend of rugby. Every game going to be a big decider between the big 8 teams that we've been following. There are more games. I just haven't had the time to follow some of the other games. So the first team for this week is going to be South Africa versus Wales. Now, last week this game was an absolute nail biter. Wales managing to come away with their first win in South Africa ever by about a point in the very last minute of the game. Real close stuff. It's a game that I think if you're Wales, you'll be really happy with that result. If you're South Africa, you will have been happy with the result because it really wasn't like a starting South African team who still played really well and just had it slip away from the end. Will left them a little bit annoyed. I think they definitely feel like they could have won that game. So going into this one, there's going to be a couple of switch-ups here for South Africa, as we probably expected. We did talk about it on the stream last night. Loads of people coming out for the stream. So let's go over the South Africa team that's been announced. So starting off in this front row, we have some immediate changes. Trevor Nyakane coming in, Umbanambi and Malherbe coming in this front row. So a bigger front row this time. We're going to be expecting this across the team. There were 14 changes last week to their team. So, we expected there to be a bigger team this time round. In the lock department, Eben Etzebeth and Lou Diega coming in now as well. Now, Lou Diega is one of those players I think is a really good player. But when we saw him in the first round, he had a couple of penalties going his way. I think if he just keeps that discipline down, he's a really good player. Doesn't need to be giving Wales silly penalties. So just keep that under wraps. I think this is a good move. And then in that back row, Sia Khaleesi, Peter Steph du Toit, and Jasper Wiese. So big powers coming in now. A bit ashamed to not see Evan Roos coming in here. I thought he played quite well, actually. I thought he was really trying to show off a lot. Maybe didn't make as much ground or as many meters as you maybe want to be seeing from him from all the hype that was surrounding him. But I thought he had a good game at number 8. But Jasper Wiese is coming in. I will also, again, say hopefully my pronunciations are getting better over the July International. Some of these names still getting beyond me a little bit. But yeah, this is a bigger team now. That lock department looks way stronger this week round. Khaleesi and Peter Steph du Toit, you've got 2 massive ball carriers now coming into this team. So I think we'll probably be seeing hopefully a bit more South Africa holding on to the ball this week, not doing as many box kicks and kicking for reasons, not just to keep them downfield. I'd like to see them hold on to the ball, use those forwards a bit better. In the halfback partnership, same as last week, Jaden Hendrikse and Andre Pollard coming in. Now, this is a better setup, to be fair. I thought this was way better last week than it was. I mean, we've already had a few discussions about Faf de Klerk's box kicking, and when we saw Elton Yantes doing his kicking as well. So I think this is the better setup for them. I think it worked better in that first half having these 2 lads on. I just think generally there's been good play from them. So keep them on. I think that's a good move. Into the centre partnership, Damien Dialende and Lukanya Am come back into the team now. I did think Esterhazen played really well last week. He'll be a bit annoyed to have not got into the starting team. I know Dialende and Lukanya Am are their go-to centre partnerships, but I thought he was doing really well. So yeah, we're going back to the big boys. We know what they bring. They've played together an awful lot of times now. We know what they bring. Bigger team. And then finally in the back row, Mapimpi, Cheslin Colby, and Damien Valemsa coming in there as well. Now, so basically we've pretty much gone back to the first week's team, if I'm calling that right. The only one that's really sticking out to me is, we got Peter Steph du Toit, who I think he missed the first week. Andre Pollard also missed the first week, just to get into the July Internationals from club level. And then Jaden Hendrikse coming in there as well. So 3 real changes standing out to me here from that starting team. The team that won in the first round, so I think this is a better team for them. This is a more capped South African team. This is a bit more of a cohesive South Africa team. No debutants, none of that. We're coming in big fire, big guns coming in now. I think South Africa have probably got the correct call here just to try and seal out this tour in their favour. In the subs there, we've got Malcolm March, Stephen Kitsoff, and Vincent Koch again. Malcolm Marx has been absolutely awesome throughout this tournament. Really, really impressive. It's quite surprising. And maybe a South African subscriber can explain a bit why Malcolm Marx always starts on the bench. Is it just because he's so good coming on for that bench? He makes an impact. I think in an awful lot of teams, you might be seeing him starting as a hooker. He plays really well. He just never seems to get that start. They must just love him coming on for the bench. I'd love a bit more of an explanation about why he never seems to get that start. So that'd be fun to hear from someone. In terms of the rest of the replacement, then we've got Franco Mostert, Quagga Smith, and then Elroy Liu. I think it's Liu. I was trying to listen out on the commentary team. So again, going for the 6-2 split. We know what South Africa are going to do. It works well for them in most games. And then finally, the replacement backs, Faf de Klerk and Willy Leroux coming in there, who actually he didn't play terribly. You know what? I've given Willy Leroux some stick in the past. I actually didn't think he'd had a terrible game. I do prefer Damien Valemsa, actually, at this point. I think he's doing really well. So I might be trying to keep him on for as long as possible. But Willy Leroux offers that a little bit of extra stuff when he comes on in late game. So not a terrible move. So yeah, I think this is a better South Africa team. This is what a lot of South African watchers will be wanting to see now. A bigger team coming in, final game. It's all on the line. Can they salvage this tour? They don't want to let this slip away. And I think by putting on the big units, the big boys, the 6-2 split as well, hold on to the ball a bit more. You've got your actual, your better kickers now with Andre Pollard on, Damien Valemsa on at the same time. If they play that 10 and sort of 15, but moving into the 12 position where they have their two distributors again, I think it'll work really well. I think South Africa are in with a good chance for this one. On to the Wales team then, who, managed to somehow come away with that win last week. I would say for a good 70 minutes, I just thought they were just going to sit back, try and defend, and just slowly concede points without doing anything. Right up till that end, Gareth Anscombe came on at just the right time. Really helping out that Wales team. A much better sort of game discipline, much more aggressive, it felt like. Really trying to move them up the field. Got that unbelievable conversion at the end of the game, which, even if you're a South African watching that game, you have to go, that was a damn good kick. I was furious watching Josh Adams go in at the corner, even though the Wales forwards were moving forward, were gaining ground. There could have been a try under the posts. I don't know why they went so wide to Josh Adams to give Anscombe that incredibly hard kick. I really wish they'd moved it closer to the actual post, but fair play. Great kick, managing to seal out that game. And for Wales then, in terms of the team going into this game, it's there's not a lot to really talk about in terms of changes. We'll have a quick read through them. So of course we've got Thomas, Elias and Lewis. This is the three. This is what we've been doing. Ryan Elias is throwing. Still not there. I don't know. I say it every week. Gotta just stop complaining about it. It's just not there. Again, last week I just didn't feel they were really doing that well in the lineouts again. So hopefully they can hold up. The scrummaging's been okay, actually. We haven't really begun to see the Wales scrum get monstered yet, which is one thing I was sort of expecting. At sometimes we would just see the Wales scrum get run over. It doesn't really feel like it's gone down that route. They are holding out in terms of the scrummaging. It's just when that bomb squad comes on in that second half is when the nerves begin to get a bit shaky. In the lock department, Will Rowlands, Adam Beard, same and same again. Will Rowland still giving a few too many penalties for my liking. They're not really disrupting the ball that much from my memory recollection of the game from last week. They're not really managing to disrupt a lot of the South African lineouts. Luckily, the South African lineout hasn't also been the most perfect set piece for them, so they haven't really had to contest that much. But yeah, still not particularly working there. It's going to be an area they need to nail in order to beat a South African team. You've got to be able to take out their lineout and have yours work absolutely efficiently. And then in the back row, we have Dan Leatt, Tommy Raffel and Fala Tau. Now, Raffel has been playing awesome. I think he's done really well. You've got to remember, 2 games ago, he was making his international debut against this Springboks team, basically the team that they're going to be playing this week. He's played well in both games. Very, very impressed by him. Dan Leatt's been putting in good defensive work. Fala Tau has been quiet, I would probably say. I can't even really think of a lot I've seen from Fala Tau. He must have had a couple of runs and some tackles here and there, but nothing jumping out to me immediately. So hopefully we see a bit more of him running down the wing. But again, we went off the Lions. Gatlin used him in the same way that Pivac tries to use him, so South Africa have probably got that area marked a bit more than other teams do. Hardback partnership, Kieran Hardy and Dan Biggar, same and same again. I do think Kieran Hardy's been doing better this tournament in terms of the box kick, so I don't think that's a perfectly, a terrible move. I would try and keep him on there. Dan Biggar as captain, again, he's been playing well. We're just not seeing them launch anything. We're clearing the line from our own 22 pretty well, but it's just not... It doesn't feel aggressive. It doesn't feel attacking. It doesn't feel like we're putting South Africa under pressure. I would like some of those kicks to feel far more pressured, have some really nice chase kicks. It's just not quite sinking in yet. But again, I still think these are the two I'd be leading with. In the centre partnership, staying the same again, Nick Tompkins and George North. George North's been doing some heavy work rate in terms of defence, actually. Nick Tompkins has been doing good. I still maintain I would like to see Owen Watkin starting in this centre partnership and have North on a wing. North seems to want to be running with the ball. Every time he gets the ball in hand, he seems to want to run with it. He's doing some crash ball stuff. I'd just like to see him have some room to open up and actually be George North. We haven't really got to see that yet. And then finally in the back three, the only real change, I think, from last week, Josh Adams coming back in, Cuthbert out injured now, Reece Zammit on that right wing, and Liam Williams now. The back three has been holding out relatively well. I still think Josh Adams has been pretty quiet in both the first game and the second game. That try that came last week is Josh Adams, just being a good winger, finishing it out. Some really nice passing, getting wide to him. Zammit's been playing well all over the park. I have actually been quite impressed by him. Got his 2 tries in the first game. I think his defensive rate in both games so far has been really good. So nice to see there. Liam Williams has been doing well under the high ball. Again, I'd just like to see him have a bit of room rather than just kicking the ball straight back. I'd like to see him do some counter runs. He's really good at it. We just don't really get to see it. So from a team standpoint, it's basically the same team that we've seen throughout the tournament. By now, we're expecting that team cohesion to be really well knitted. South Africa have made big changes every single game, and we really think we'll be seeing Wales build each week and growing. I don't really feel like we've seen that a lot. It feels like pretty much both games went exactly the same way, just one was a little bit of a less experienced South African team. I would like in the third game to watch Wales really build an attack. I mean, wouldn't it be great to see Wales actually score maybe like 2, 3, 4 tries in a game? All out aggression, all out attack, do that Scarlets attack we all expected when Pivac came in. I'd like to see them open up, keep the ball in hand, be aggressive, even if you're not making ground through some of your phases, which the South African defence has been good in both games. Just keep going. Rather than doing 3 phases and kicking the ball away, do 12. Just build on it. Wait for the gaps to open. It's the way teams are working well. I would just like to see them hold on to that ball a little bit more. And then finally, in terms of the subs, Dewi Lake, Wyn Jones and Wainwright. This was the same 3, I think, last week. And they came on, made a nice impact, didn't really concede anything in terms of that scrummaging. They looked good. So, you know what, I was a little bit shaky. I didn't know a lot about this Wainwright lad coming in now in the front row, but nice to see him make a good debut last week and just keep up the good work there. In terms of the rest of the replacement forwards, Alun Jones and Josh Navidi. Alun Jones last week will have felt quite annoyed to have got his yellow card for nothing. Literally nothing. Look, didn't even touch the ball. I don't know what happened there. That's just ref communication breakdown between touch judges and TMO. Really bad call. Probably the only really bad call, I would say, from the officials so far through this tour. I know in the first game there was a lot of yellow cards. A lot of people weren't happy about that. I think some of them were understandable. Last week against Alun Jones, I thought was just wrong. I don't know why no one picked up on that in terms of the referees and what have you. And then the replacement backs, Thomas Williams, Gareth Anscombe, and Owen Watkin, hopefully finally getting a chance here. Yeah, I think Kieran Hardy's been outshining Thomas Williams since he's been playing. I think that's a good move. Gareth Anscombe, we've already mentioned. Big impact last week. Nice to see. And then finally, Owen Watkin. I just want to see him get on. Again, I think the switch-up is nice. North can move to a wing. Watkin can come in the centre. Or you can just put him as a straight replacement on for either centre, really, because Watkin can play both centre positions if need be. I think it's nice. And I think he offers a really nice defensive level in that second half. So far, Wales have got potentially a bit lucky by South Africa not managing to just finish that last sort of 10% of the game. They've not managed to really seal it out. And I think by having someone like Owen Watkin, you might be able to hold that off even longer. Just not letting South Africa break through your lines, try and get some charge down tackles. He's very, very quick. And South Africa love to use that kick to move up the field. Hopefully someone like Owen Watkin could make a bit of disruption in that attacking line for South Africa and just keep Wales on the front foot for that little bit longer. So in terms of a score prediction, then, what do we think for this game? Well, this was pretty much exactly what I expected. I expected Wales to make almost no changes and South Africa to revert completely back to what we expect the standard Springboks team to be. I think for this one, every game so far has sort of gone the way I expected it to go. So I'm going to just stick with my gut feeling this one. I'm going to say this one's probably going to be more likely a South Africa win. I think last week will have annoyed a couple of the South African players that, watching their new debutants come on, should have won a game, just didn't manage to seal it out. I think this one they'll want to put a bit of a stamp on it. I can imagine this one you'll be seeing far less like wanting to just go for the 3 points later in that game. They'll want to be going for tries. They'll want to make a bit of a stamp in this July internationals now. So I can see South Africa actually being way more aggressive, and if Wales just play that spongy, absorby defence game, I think this game will get away from them. So I'm going to say South Africa to win, and I'm actually going to lean into it a bit more this week. I'm going to say South Africa are going to win a bit more comfortably. I'm actually going to say South Africa to win by 12. this week. I'm gonna go a little bit bigger. I just think this is a big South Africa team. They've got something to prove now. They've been knocked off that #1 spot in terms of the world rankings. We saw that on Monday. Got to turn up now. You've got to prove. You've got to be there. Got to come in and try and smash this team. Hopefully Wales play aggressively and don't just sit back and let them do their attacking game. I would like to see Wales be on the offensive, put the South African team on the defensive, but I'm just not sure about it. But of course, guys, like I say in all these videos, make sure you do drop down in the comments your thoughts on the games, your thoughts on the teams. Who do you think is going to win? What do you think they're going to win by? Who do you think is going to score tries? All that fun stuff. I love hearing what you guys have to say. And of course, we are going to be doing the Super Brew again this week. Make sure you have got those choices picked by, I don't even know what the first game is. This one might be on Friday as well. I've beginning to lose track of there's too many games going on at one time. So make sure you do get those picks in early. There's a couple of people last week that just missed out on picks, just didn't have the time to lock them in and stuff. So make sure you get them in on time. But I hope you all enjoyed this one today, guys. If you have, remember to leave this video a like. And if you enjoy this sort of content, remember to subscribe to the channel because it does really help the channel out. I hope you all enjoyed today, guys, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.